Hi, I'm Greg Palumbo, Exhibits Manager at Ah-Tah-Thi-Ki Museum, and today I'd like to share with you some treasures from our vault. With me today I have Pedro Zepeda, our Traditional Arts and Outreach Coordinator. Welcome to Treasures from the Vault.
Thank you.
Today we've brought out some moccasins. We have a lot of cool moccasins within our collection, and they range all the dates from very early to today. Speaking of some very early ones, these moccasins here are actually Cherokee. These moccasins belong to Rachel Martin Davis. Her great-great-grandfather was Corntassel, an early leader of the Cherokee people. Her great-uncle was chief of the Cherokees from 1783 and was killed in 1788 under a white flag of truce. Her mother, Susanna, is known as the mother of numerous Cherokee leaders. Her moccasins here, which we're very proud to have in our collection, show some beadwork that were done with seed beads in the blue and white beads here on the front. And on the cuffs, we have some interesting iconography of suns on the outer cuffs and moons on the inner cuffs. The colonials tried to destroy the native cultures by taking away their things such as wampum belts with the Cherokee. They were able to bring that iconography from the wampum belts to pieces like these moccasins, where we see the moons and the suns, and be able to put their symbolism basically in plain sight so that they wouldn't be crushed by colonialism. These designs that we see on the front of this moccasin and then onto these moccasins are more of a floral design. Those were designs that came a little bit later after the French influences brought these floral patterns into the fashions of the time. Before that, there were very distinct southeastern tribal symbolism. Those symbols were either modified to be a little more floral or were disregarded altogether. So today we have more of these floral designs. As we move into these other later versions of the moccasins, these moccasins here are dated from about 1830. These moccasins may be a little bit later or at the same time as the Rachel Davis moccasins. Rachel Davis lived from 1788 until 1843. So these moccasins, which date to circa 1830, would have been about the same time as the Rachel Martin moccasins. And we can see the floral patterns within the two moccasins are fairly similar. These are said to be a creek design moccasin and are unusual because of their high sides. As we move down into these moccasins, these are more the Seminole Creek version of moccasins that start becoming popular around the 1850s, and these are circa 1850 moccasins. You can see that the floral pattern becomes a little more geometrical as we get into these moccasins. Pedro is a Seminole who's making moccasins today. And Pedro, would you mind telling us a little bit about how you make moccasin?
Yeah. So in the southeast and in the woodlands, actually, moccasins are pretty much made relatively similar, slight variations from tribe to tribe. But most of them have some sort of center seam up the front and up the back of the moccasin. And then it's just a single piece all the way around the moccasin. And that's kind of the basic construction of these other moccasins. They're just more highly decorated, as you'll often see in museum examples, because when people went and collected these things or saved them, usually they saved the finest or the best of the best. So, the museum collections, a lot of times you're missing kind of the everyday moccasins that somebody would just wear around the camp or just to, walk to town for the day. So, we have these beautiful examples, definitely in museum collections, but the kind of everyday ones are the ones you're missing a little more. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. Just a few things to keep in mind when you're making moccasins. When I make them, I always try to make them to that person's foot, whoever is going to be wearing it, whether it's me or somebody else I'm helping learn to make a moccasin. That way, it's a proper fit for that person, because, everybody's feet are different sizes and different widths and things like that. And when you make anything, it's a lot harder to put something back on once you take it off. So you want to cut it the right size the first time. And So kind of unique to the Southeast is this puckering here on the front, and that helps gather that leather around the front of the foot. Because leather is flexible, it will kind of curve to the front of the toes there. And the same thing in the back, it has a little bit of a pucker as well to help around the curve of the back of the heel. So even though it's made from something that starts out flat, it's able to fit around all the curves of the foot, the front and then the back. And several times a year I usually end up teaching classes on moccasin making to tribal members. So if anyone's that's interested, just look out for the traditional arts flyers on moccasin making. Generally, it takes about 2 days to teach a full class on how to make moccasins, but it's a pretty good one. It's something that people can walk away with a finished product. So if you just keep an eye out for those for the tribal members, if you want to learn how to make Seminole style moccasins.
If someone wanted to contact you at the museum here, how should they do that?
You just call the main museum number. It's 863-902-1113, and my extension is 12228, directly to my desk. Or you can email me as well, Pedro Zepeda at semtribe.com. So it's just kind of a good thing to be able to carry this on today to this tradition of moccasin making and our particular style of moccasins that Seminoles make as well.
Well, thank you, Pedro, for telling us a little bit about making moccasins. And thank you for joining us on Treasures from the Vault. If you'd like to learn more about moccasins or our collections, please give us a call at the museum at the number Pedro gave you, or visit our website at Ah-Tah-Thi-Ki.com. Thank you for watching Treasures from the Vault.